Hey, what's up everybody? It's your girl Cooking with Tammy, and I am back with another delicious recipe. Today we're going to be making a sheet pan lasagna. Shout out to celebrity chef Giada for coming up with this recipe, but of course, you know your girl Cooking with Tammy is definitely going to put a spin on this delicious recipe. I'm going to complement so many flavors, guys, because we're going to be entwining and infusing so many different seasonings to bring out the ultimate flavor. So without further ado, let's get to cooking. Here's the ingredients for today's recipe. For this recipe, we're going to start off with mincing our garlic. I like to just go ahead and smash the garlic out to keep it from rolling all over the cutting board. Makes the process so much easier. Just going to get in there and chop it up really fine. Alright, the garlic is looking pretty good. Once I saw this recipe, I was like, you know what, I got to give it a try, because I've made lasagna on this channel probably dating back as far as maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And let me tell you something. Lasagna is so delicious, but it is so time consuming. And I know we could all agree, it takes forever. Oh my goodness. The layering, the stacking. We're going to cut this bell pepper on up. And of course, I'm going to take those seeds out first. Take out the membrane. Toss it, of course. Just, if there's any seeds in there, just tap on it. All the seeds will come out. Of course, this bell pepper is already rinsed off. A lot of people don't like veggies, so if we could incorporate it in every single meal, then we're doing something good, trust me. So in the meanwhile, let's work on making our delicious meat sauce, right? Because you could boil the pasta al dente, make the pasta all types of way, but if your meat sauce is not on and poppy, your meat sauce is not tasty, not flavorful, then you know what, guess what? Just throw the whole lasagna away. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not eating lasagna for pasta. I'm eating it for that flavorful, meaty taste. We're going to add some oil because I am going to be using turkey ground for this recipe. So I'm going to introduce my onions to this hot skillet. And if you're not into turkey, right, which I've proven to you before, but if you're new to this channel, you're probably like, turkey doesn't taste good. Yes, 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 it does. You just got to know how to season it up really well. We're going to saute these onions, get all of the flavors out of the onions. We're also going to add our finely chopped garlic. Toss that around the pan, toast it on up, allow the garlic to become nice and fragrant and aromatic. We're going to cook all of these, I don't want to say veggies because there's only 2 things in here, but we're going to cook our onions and garlic at least for about 30 seconds to a minute, because like I said before, this pan is hot. We're going to introduce our meat to this pan. Let's fold those onions and garlic into the meat because we want to infuse the flavors into the meat from the beginning of the process. So by the time we decide to add any of our herbs and dry seasonings, the meat would already have some flavor, at least from the onions and the garlic. This is ground turkey, so you don't really have to worry about, straining it off and draining the oil off at the end of the process. We're going to give it some time to brown on up. We're going to cook the meat thoroughly all the way through. After about 10 minutes, our meat is perfectly brown. So it's about that time. We are going to introduce our seasonings to this meat, all right? Going to add some garlic powder. And of course, I know somebody's going to ask, Tammy, how much garlic powder to add? Add enough. No, more so just add to taste. Season to taste, all right? We're also going to add some onion powder along with some bouillon. Now, because this is turkey, I'm going to be using chicken bouillon. However, if you are going to be using beef ground, definitely use beef bouillon. And if you're going to be using pork ground, use some chicken bouillon as well. I think I covered all the bases, right? Just going to give it a good stir because I want to make sure everything is perfectly distributed throughout this pan. Good, smelling good, smelling good. We're going to take some salt and pepper. Combine it really good. Sprinkle on some salt and pepper. Give it a little extra boost of flavor. And I want to add some red chili flakes, aka crushed peppers. Just a little bit, not too much. We are going to add our favorite brand of ragu sauce. Now, when it comes to the ragu sauce, you can even swap it with marinara as well. There's no wrong or right when it comes to this recipe. Alright, I'm going to add a good amount of pasta sauce and just fold it on in. And I don't know about you, but I like to add water to my pasta sauce. Make sure you get all of that sauce out of the bottle or jar. Want to make sure you get all of it. We are going to introduce our bell peppers. Now, if you want to break your bell peppers down to the point where you can't really see them and they become non-existent, then you can add your bell peppers at the same time that you're adding your onions. But my family, they don't mind veggies. And I also want to pop a color. I want these veggies to stand out in the lasagna. So that's why I decided to add it at this point in time. Just going to fold those veggies on in. We are going to add some brown sugar. However, if you want to add granulated, aka white sugar, you can definitely do that. But I'm pretty certain after all the baking that we've done, there's some brown sugar somewhere laying around the house. When adding brown sugar, however, if you do like your sauce to have somewhat of a slight sweetness to it, you're going to have to add more brown sugar versus if you're adding that white sugar, you're going to need less white sugar to sweeten up the sauce. And of course, getting there, taste it every step of the way. Got to make sure the flavor's on point. We're going to add some Italian seasoning. And this Italian seasoning has literally everything in there because I made it myself. It's basil, thyme, so on and so forth. Just a little bit of everything. Even a little oregano is in there. Gonna add some rosemary. Forgot to tell you. Gonna cover it on down. Lower the flame a little bit to low medium. And that's about it. Allow it to come to a slow simmer. Allow the flavors to infuse. And that's it. We're going to have a delicious meat sauce. Our pasta has about 2 minutes to go. So I want to show you how to make this delicious sauce really quick. Because for those of you out there who hate ricotta cheese, trust me, I have the remedy. I'm not going to be doing this particular pan lasagna with ricotta, but I am going to be pairing it with a delicious, guess what? Bechamel sauce. And you're probably like, what? Bechamel sauce is one of the mother sauces when it comes to French cuisine. And when I tell you, this bechamel sauce is, listen, you're going to be pairing it with everything, all right? That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to add some butter to this hot skillet. Allow that butter to melt. We're going to add our all-purpose flour. Stir it on in. It's almost like making a roux. Only difference is this roux is going to have a lot more flavor to it. Just cook the flour. And once the flour becomes toasted, which should take about 20 seconds to 30 minutes. We want to make sure we get that flour really good because we don't want to have any floury taste left over in our bechamel sauce. All right, we are going to introduce our whole milk. And we're going to continue to stir it and combine all of the flavors together. And to bring this sauce home, to make it hit home base, we're going to add a small pinch of salt and pepper. And the key ingredient, nutmeg, is very pungent, so we're not going to add too much. Yeah, it's still nutmeg season, what? The flavors are just like, they're mild and they're delicate, but yet it just stands out on your palate. It's so delicious, this sauce. I've been making it since 1924. What we're doing right now is allowing the sauce to reduce and basically just thicken up. Once it reaches this right here, we don't need to cook it any longer. That's it. We have a separate pot with boiling water. We're going to add some salt for flavor. And we're also going to add some oil. Now, I know some of you are probably going to be like, no, don't add the oil. Stop screaming at me through the screen and just don't add it if it's something that you don't prefer. All right? No, Tammy, what are you doing? All right, we're going to break give it a good stir. Make sure nothing is sticking together. And that's about it. We're going to cook our pasta until it becomes nice and al dente. We're going to take some of our sauce and we're going to add it to our lasagna. Gonna stir it into the pasta. This looks good. All right, let's get some more meat because we are greedy. We want this to be really meaty. And this should be enough. I gotta keep in mind that my baking sheet is only 1 inch deep, so it's not that deep. Another thing, right? I'm gonna show you the baking sheet in a second, but when you do purchase your baking sheet, if you don't have one already, there's baking sheets with different, like the sides. Some of them, they come up a little bit more for that enclosure when you add your food, and some of them, they're more like lean to the side. So if you don't be careful, you could have like, you know, a spillage or a spillover once you add it to the oven. To make sure if you're going to be making this recipe that your pan is equipped to handle this situation. Anyway, let me add this to the pan. You know what? Let's add a little bit of cheese. Get that cheese and preparation going on. And once we're done, of course, we're going to layer some cheese on top as well. Can't go wrong with adding cheese to the mix. All right, my loves, to a non-stick baking sheet, let's add our lasagna. As you can see, cheese pull going on. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. All right, guys, no ricotta like I said, but what we are gonna do is we're gonna add our bechamel sauce. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And if you've never had lasagna with bechamel sauce, because I don't think I've made it on this channel, I'm not sure. When I tell you it's going to be worth it, it is going to be worth it. This is going to be the best, with a capital B and then with a capital T, the best lasagna that you have ever tasted. We're going to sprinkle on mozzarella cheese. If you want to use a cheese blend, you definitely can, but if you want to keep it straight simple with just mozzarella, you can do that as well. From my little observation, that's what most people run from. They run from the fact that the layering process, it just takes too long, and also the ricotta cheese. That's the thing that gets most of us. They're like, I don't like ricotta. What can I do as a substitution? And most times I just say, you know what? Just leave it out. We're going to sprinkle on some parsley, of course. Into our preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 15 minutes until the cheese is all melted. And once we're done, I'm going to turn the broiler on. That's if if the cheese is not brown enough. And that's just basically it, guys. I'm going to show you what it looks like once we take it out of the oven. Our sheet pan lasagna is done. I know you saw those pictures. Woo, absolutely gorgeous. Now here's the thing, when it came to the baking time, I know I told you guys you could rock out with 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. However, your girl was busy behind the scenes, all right? So we did 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I didn't bother to turn on the broiler to brown the cheese or anything because this is how I like it. But if you want your cheese to be a little bit more browny, you know what to do, turn that broiler on. But in the meanwhile, let's get to eating. Let's get to eating. Super duper happy right now. Ooh wee. Yes. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I can't stop smiling. I think food just makes me happy. Let's see, let's see. Cross your T's and dot your I's because this right here is a delicious surprise. Don't pay attention to me. This is delicious. This is absolutely delicious. The noodles are cooked to perfection, not to mention that meat sauce. Woo! And it didn't take us a long time because, like I said before, we didn't have to go in and layer like 5 different layers. This lasagna is definitely delicious, all right? Not to mention a complimentary bechamel sauce. I taste that little hint of nutmeg, but yet that creaminess. Absolutely phenomenally delicious. As always, I'm your girl cooking with Tammy. Definitely give this recipe a try, and I will catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.